Hi, everybody. I'm Amanda, and today I wanted to talk about mental health, kind of define, the realistic things that happen in psychiatric hospitals, resources that are available, and how to go about finding them. A lot of people think of mental health and it scares them. It's something that is negatively looked at, it's got a really bad stigma. Um, there's a lot of people that watch, movies that are based in psychiatric hospitals, and they think that's the realistic view when in reality it's not what you're going to see if you end up in a psychiatric hospital. Movies portray, people shaking in corners or just screaming at the top of their lungs, running around in panic, just abuse of control and mistreatment. And I work in a psychiatric hospital, so I see firsthand what goes on in there, and it's really nothing like what you see on TV. Um, a lot of people don't talk about their mental health because of the negative outlook, and they don't feel like there's people that understand them or proper resources available. Um, in the hospital I work at, it's high acute, but acute can mean so many different things. Like some people think of acute and they're afraid because, they think violence or something like that. But really, acute is just like it could be a high level of depression, of schizophrenia, anything like that. Um, Something else that scares people away, I think, from you reaching out for resources for their mental health is insurance. A lot of people think that they can't afford it or their insurance won't cover it. In the hospital I work at, we have the business office team that just works around the clock making sure that everyone's covered, and sometimes we can get, out of pocket payments retro paid where you won't have to end up covering the bill. For our patients that don't have any insurance, we have our county insurance that we will actually go out of our way to make sure our patients are covered and get them set up with their case managers and everything like that with our county to be able to get their stays provided. Um, a lot of people also think that you have to be 5150 to get treatment, and you don't. I have a lot of patients that come in voluntarily seeking help, which is actually really beneficial if you know that you need help, or you know somebody that needs help. Because if you voluntarily admit yourself to the hospital and you just don't think that the treatment is working out, you can request to be discharged and you cannot get turned away. All of our patients in psychiatric hospitals have rights. So if you feel like your right has been violated, there's in-house patient advocates who will advocate for you and be on your side and get what you feel like you need met. Um, I just think, like, even if you don't think that you are suffering from a mental illness, if there is somebody that you know, just look out and provide resources. You can call hospitals, you can call their intake centers, and you can get the information you need so you are fully aware before entering, a place that you're just really not familiar with, and that could be scary at first. Um, there's also this stigma kind of towards mental health that if you go inpatient, you're going to be, just drugged up. But from my experience, we actually, upon admission, now do a genetic test, which will, if you will want to, like, you don't have to do this. It is a mouth swab, and we will send it into the lab, and it actually brings back results of how the medications are going to react in your body according to your genetics. So it gives the doctors a really good outlook on what would have a positive and a more effective reaction as opposed to just experimenting with all of these drugs that are not necessary. There also is, like, we see in the movies a lot of times that people are being held down and restrained, and like electroshock therapy, which is not used really. It's like very small cases of electroshock therapy being used. The hospital I work at, we actually are restraint free, so there is no holding somebody down against their will and just, fighting somebody to stay in one place for so long. According to the CDC, and this is a statistic from 2019, there is 1 in every 5 adults that is diagnosed with a mental illness. And the majority of these cases go, just silence. Nobody pays attention to them. It is really important if, like, you or somebody um, Even like just a mild depression, just speak up about it. Like get your voice heard, and it's really important to advocate yourself because there are resources available, and you know it's important to you and your family that you will take care of yourself and your mental health. Even if it's just, reaching out to somebody and making sure they're okay, asking your friend how their day was, it could really benefit them in the long run because a lot of people just feel like they're not noticed. And they sit in silence and in darkness with their mental illness alone. I mean, there's plenty of us out here to help. There's so many resources. So I strongly encourage anyone who has a mental illness themselves, who knows somebody who may have a mental illness, or who just wants to do more research, to go ahead and research, call intake centers, call crisis centers, and get the information you need so you could use it to benefit yourself or benefit a loved one.